Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel where today I am replying to Laurane Macquart because she tagged me in a video called Reading Retrospective 2020. So basically it's just a short list of questions that has you reflect on 2020. So I will be doing an actual more concise 2020 book review on my actual books, maybe look at a few stats. But because my spreadsheet is on my work computer, I have to wait until I go back to work to be able to do that, which I'm not in a rush to do. But yeah, for the meantime, to sort of fill in the hole, I'm replying to this tag. So to get right into it, I'm going to start from question 1, which is, which book you read this year would you recommend to anyone and why? So this year was not my best reading year. It was my best reading year in terms of quantity of books. I did read a lot more books than I have ever previously, but in terms of quality, I didn't have any spectacular, amazing, wow, I have to tell everybody about them books. But I mean, it's more like, okay, I have books that I enjoyed talking about, but nothing that I'm super passionate about. And on the whole, non-fiction was where I enjoyed myself the most this year, which is why most of my answers will be on the nonfiction side. So when it comes to a book that I can recommend to someone, it would be the nonfiction Into Thin Air by Krakauer. I don't have the book with me because my friend is borrowing it to read it, and he's being very slow about it, so we'll see if that actually happens and in what condition I get the book back. But yeah, I mean, right there, I immediately recommend it to him. So he's reading it in English, which is why it's taking a while because he's Japanese. I have one friend, he bought the book in Japanese so that he could read it. And it's just a book that's just an absolutely riveting look at humanity under the guise of a Mountain Everest adventure. Because it's basically about Krakauer, who went on an expedition on Everest, and he was part of one of the deadliest seasons of Everest in 1996, where basically a bunch of people died in a storm, and he was in that crew of people, and he reflects on all the mistakes that were made in terms of preparation, how he feels about the standards required for how they choose people who can go onto the expeditions. He makes suggestions about what he feels went wrong, and then he sort of reflects on how maybe the personalities of people affects an expedition, and then basically just that moment itself, he gives his perspective and his version of those events, and it's just an incredibly powerful book. It's so gripping, it's amazing, and that's a book I think whether or not you're into nonfiction, you will like it, because in a way it's pretty much an adventure story. You don't have to be a mountaineer, you don't have to be an outdoors person, you don't have to be one of those, like, you know, extreme sports kind of person, because it's basically a story about the ego of humanity. So yeah, Into Thin Air is the book I would choose for basically anybody, everyone, because it's just fantastic. The next question is, which book you read this year has taught you something new? For that, I would go with The Gate of Heavenly Peace, The Chinese and Their Revolution by Jonathan D. Spence. This is a book that basically has a time span about like 1896 or so to about 1986, so about 100 years of Chinese history, where it explains and shows how China went from the end of their imperial system, and how the downfall of the imperial system led to this huge commotion of where they could have gone to a more democratic system, but there was this communism that was coming into the country that was trying to fight for that. And it just explains the basic state of chaos that China was in, which led them to go into communism. So it was an incredibly fascinating book. It's dense, it's heavy, there are no breaks, it gives you no chance to really catch your breath, because I mean that period of history was that the people pretty much were in constant revolution. They were constantly fighting for survival and then choosing the side at that moment that best helped them survive. So there were times they would follow communism, and then the next year they would be against communism, and then the communist forces, the communist influence would get stronger, so they had to go back to communism. And so it's just this incredible flip-flopping. So you really have no idea what direction it could have gone, except that you do know that China would eventually become a communist country. So this was incredibly fascinating. And this just, I had no idea. I knew China had a very violent and chaotic history, but to this extent was just, yeah, this was very, very good. Very amazing. The next question is, which book you read this year came just at the right time when you needed it? It's not so much that I needed it, but it came at the right time because apparently I read this book right about like a week before the anniversary of Tiananmen Square, which is what this book is about. This book is called Des balles et de l'opium, which was translated as Bullets and Opium into English by Liao Yiwu, and the subtitle is Real Life Stories of China After the Tiananmen Square Incident. And basically, Liao Yiwu was in prison for about 30 years, and then he was released, and then he was sent back to prison. So basically, this book is about certain people who were barely involved in the Tiananmen Massacre. Some of them were just on the outskirts of the plaza, and they just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, but they spent the rest of their lives being punished for this event and basically being harcelé is the word in French, harcelé, to be oh my goodness, harcelé, to like bully. So like the government would bully them, the police would bully them, their neighbors would bully them because they knew their involvement. And as a neighbor, even if you like this person, if you are seen as being friendly to someone who had taken part in Tiananmen Square, you could be seen as a traitor yourself. So basically the chaos of these people's lives after the Tiananmen Square incident, and it's really until they die, whether that be in prison, whether that be an accident within their village, or if they even do make it abroad, maybe abroad something happens. So I mean, this is terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. So the book is fantastic, and I read it at the right time because it was a week before the Tiananmen Square anniversary, which is an incredibly pivotal moment of history. So next question, which book you read this year will stay with you for a long time? I think that would have to be, I mean, all the books that I have already pointed could answer this question, but to sort of have diversity in my answers, I decided to go with My Hitch in Hell, The Bataan Death March, which is a memoir by Lester I. Tenney, which is about an American soldier who became a prisoner of war of the Japanese in the Philippines. And this book was horrifying. It was terrifying. It was frustrating. I mean, the way the Japanese treated prisoners, and it's just disgusting, really. It's absolutely horrible. You really wonder, I mean, how can humanity do such things? And there's just one scene that has stayed with me, and it's just horrible. I mean, if you think rape is the worst thing that can happen to a woman, there's a scene in here which is just, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting, and that will stay with me for a while. But just for me, this is the type of book that is the reason that I'm so fascinated about reading about the Japanese side of World War II, because everyone talks about Hitler and talks about the Nazis and the Holocaust, and those are, I mean, the most horrific events that we've ever gone through in modern history. But people forget about this side of the World War II, this the other side of the globe, and Japanese were just as bad. They were just as bad, and it's absolutely devastating. It's absolutely devastating. The next book, which I didn't really have a good answer for, the next question, which I didn't really have a very good answer for, is which book you read this year expanded your reading horizons? whether that be a new genre, an author, a theme, a style, a format. I wouldn't say this exactly expanded my reading horizons, but it was a new author that I read for the first time today. And that book is The Loved One by Evelyn, Waugh. I did not like this book. I really could care kind of less about it. I'm not even going to say what it's about because it's just, for me, it wasn't really worth reading. It introduced me to this author. I have to say English literature. I used to read a long time ago for school, and I used to like it back then, Wuthering Heights and obviously Shakespeare, all those authors and books I quite enjoyed. But I haven't read any English literature in quite a bit, just because I am so passionate about Japanese literature and East Asian literature. And this just, it expanded my reading, expanded my reading horizon by making me push out of my East Asia, comfort zone. But I can't say that I really enjoyed myself. But I think Evelyn Waugh, I think I would try again with his more famous works. I would maybe try that, but this I think is more appropriate a book for someone who already is a big fan of him and is much more versed in English society, I would say. Next question is about Booktube. No, I made it about Booktube. The next question is, which bookish things did you particularly enjoy doing, purchasing, using this year? For me, I am not a merchandise person. I am not a, buy cups or t-shirts that have to do with funny phrases about things. That's not my style. Other than the fact that I'm wearing a shirt that says bonjour. But this is cute. I bought in Korea and I really like it. So please don't go after me for being hypocritical. But I don't have any bookish things. So for me, starting this Booktube channel would be the thing that I have particularly enjoyed doing. It's been fun. I'm still looking for my Booktube style, I think. I'm still looking for my Booktube personality. I'm still only now starting to come up with ideas of original content. So I'm very much looking forward to what's coming up this year. But for now, I have to say that I've just been enjoying experimenting and trying new things, and it's been really fun. And I've already met some really, really great people within the Booktube community, which has made this definitely worth the effort. The next question would be, who are some Booktubers, subscribers, or other bookish friends that you got to know better this year? I think I would have to go with Laurane Macquart because she's just so easygoing with her videos, just super friendly, and she's so enthusiastic about reading. She reads so much more than I do, but I've just been enjoying stalking her videos and commenting on every single one and seeing her reply to them because she's so friendly. And Laurane Macquart, if you see this, I'm sorry if I'm always harassing you with my incessant commentary. But yeah, it's been a real pleasure to meet, to get to know her via Booktube and to kind of talk to her within the comments section. So that's been a real pleasure. Next question, what Booktube video did you particularly enjoy this year? When it comes to other Booktubers, there are so many videos that have been fun, that have been put a smile on my face, but I can't recall the name, so I'm just going to go with the videos I created. I actually really like my manga TBR video because that was really fun to go through this entire pile of my manga that I had. I think it was 350 plus volumes of manga that I have on my TBR, so that was kind of like shocking. I mean, I knew it was a lot, but that was definitely maybe a little bit shocking. But yeah, that was just, that was really fun to make. Just going through that pile, it felt like Christmas again. I also like my first Walk With Me video, where it's a video where as I read sections of Yu Miri's Tokyo Ueno Station, I actually took you within Tokyo to those scenes that she describes in that book. So if you read the book yourself and you're thinking, oh, I wonder what that looks like, I actually show you. I should show you those places. And so that was really, really, really fun to film. Plus it was a beautiful autumn day, and I think it made the book more pleasurable for me, and it actually made Ueno Park more pleasurable for me, because Ueno Park is actually is admittedly not my favorite place in Tokyo, but I think having that connection with the book really made it even more enjoyable. And then the last vlog that I really enjoyed the making was my Christmas vlog, because it was silly. It was, for me, it was fun. I don't know if it was fun for you guys, but more for me it was silly, and it was just, I think, just a way to show you guys my personality, and you know, it's a good memory for me. The last actual question is, did you discover a new all-time favorite book? So like I said, I don't have anything that was like, you know, oh my gosh, my heart, I'm so happy I read this book. Well, I am happy to have read the book that I'm about to show you, but it's not like Fires on the Plain by Shohei Oka, where I was just like, that book was so superb. It's not like Chess Story by Stefan Zweig. It's not like my reaction to Shipwrecks by Kira Yoshimura, which is just, I mean, that book is stunning. But this book, it's definitely a new favorite, because I just really enjoy myself. It's a fun adventure story. And so what is that book? That is The Water Margin by Shi Nai-An. So this is one of the 3, questionably 4 great Chinese classics. And this book is it's just pure adventure. It's a story about these Chinese men that become bandits, and what situation led them to become bandits. And it's always some sort of government harassment and corruption. And yeah, I mean, these characters, they have these grandiose personalities, and they have these almost mythical, unhuman-like powers, even though they're very much human. And it's just a fantastic adventure. It's so much fun, and this is definitely my favorite book of the year. When it comes to fiction, this is my favorite book of the year. And the thing is that just by reading this, I've already seen it referenced in so many other books I've read since then, because this is just such a pivotal work of Chinese fiction. But I've also seen it in Japanese fiction, and then I've seen it in the nonfiction I've read, and it's just a book that's referenced a lot, because it's just the influence of this is really, really amazing. And so this was definitely, it was my longest read of the year, and it was definitely one of my favorite reads of the year, because it tugged at my heart. It was just so fantastic. I really love this. And so yeah, that's the end of it. Otherwise, I just asked you to tag some bookish people. The only people I would tag have already done this video, so I'm just gonna leave the video here. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. I have some fun New Year's related videos coming up, I think, if I can do it right. So I hope you look forward to that, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.